You are on this council. We'd grant you the rank of master.
At last.
Hey guys, I hope you're having a great day. So this next fanfiction was one of the early ideas I had in mind before I started this channel. This is based on a variation for a Jedi Maul project of mine that would ideally have 10 episodes with an expensive budget, but since I don't have that kind of money, I'm gonna have to stick to what if videos for now.
This is outrageous. It's unfair.
So, let's enter an alternate universe of the Star Wars timeline, in Elseworlds, on what if Mace Windu trained Darth Maul.
Formerly Darth. Now just Maul.
Just like our previous what if story, this new timeline will change some major events and key points in the prequels and the Clone Wars. I'll be mixing the canon and Legends origins of Darth Maul for this Elseworlds Star Wars timeline. So, our story begins many years before the Phantom Menace. One night, somewhere in a cave far away from the Night Sisters' stone fortress, a young woman approaches a dark cave that gave an eerie dark side presence. She then makes her way inside. This young woman is a Dathomirian Night Sister named Caecina. Now, a quick side note. For those who don't know, Caecina was Darth Maul's birth mother from Legends, alongside with his two brothers, Savage and Feral, instead of Mother Talzin, who's his mother in canon. After 10 minutes of walking inside the cold and foggy cave, Caecina turned around dead in her tracks as a mysterious hooded man approached her. Not wanting her son to grow up as a slave, Caecina sought out ways to get her son off of the planet and away from the other Night Sisters, and this hooded man was the key. She tells the mysterious hooded man that her son is ready to leave the planet, and that today was the day for this to happen. She had been in contact with this hooded man for weeks, after she found out that he was investigating the planet for a possible Force-sensitive youngling. When they first met, she begged him to take her son, but the hooded man was cautious and rejected her offer. This reason will be revealed later in our story. Back in the cave, Caecina tells the mysterious hooded man that a very powerful cloaked man who had a close acquaintance with Mother Talzin would have taken her son, but he refused oddly. This cloaked man did so after sensing an unwelcomed presence. This will also be revealed later in our story. Caecina tells the hooded man where he can find her son, since she had hidden him in a secret location far away from the Night Sisters' fortress where they all live. The two part ways as the hooded man exited the cave. For the next hour, this mystery man traveled miles through the endless terrain of twisted trees and vegetation. Finally arriving to a small hut in a forest, the hooded man slowly opened a door. In the corner of the room, a young Dathomirian Zabrak boy, and he's sitting on the floor. The boy looks up. He tells the hooded man if he's the one that his mother sent. The hooded man replied as he then revealed himself, removing the hood from his head.
Your mother took a big risk, and it won't be for granted. The Force is strong with you, boy. You will learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi.
The two then board a shuttle and head off to Coruscant. When they arrive to the Jedi Temple, young Maul is greeted by Master Yoda at the entrance.
Greetings, young one. Sensed you in the Force, we did. Now, come along.
The three walk inside and make their way into the council chambers. Now, prior to all of this, Mace Windu had found out about Maul through Master Yoda about a month ago. Just as their session had concluded, Mace Windu says,
May the Force be with us all.
As the Jedi Council members begin standing up from their seats, exiting the room, Master Yoda looks over to Mace Windu as he walks over to the chamber entrance to leave. He stops him.
Master Windu, wait a moment. An assignment I have for you. Sensed a presence in the Force I have. One, in a boy.
A boy?
A potential new Padawan to bring into the Order. One, powerful in the Force, I sense.
Then together we shall meditate.
As we cut to a room within the Jedi Temple, Mace and Yoda are both seated down, focusing and clearing their minds. The two powerful Jedi Masters meditate together, attempting to sense the connection with the young Zabrak male that Yoda had sensed earlier while meditating, prior to the council session they just had.
A jungle world, I see. Dathomir, it is.
A blood-red planet. Yes, I see it too.
Home of the Night Sister Witches. A stone fortress, I see.
Yes, Mother Talzin. She's the shaman and clan mother. But I sense a boy. Not at the stone fortress, but somewhere else.
A village. Southern sector. Sense it strongly, I do.
The boy. I see him. He's in a village camp with other Night Brothers. And he is screaming. He dies.
The future, you see. Into the shadow of the dark side. Taken, the child was. Shrouded is his fate from us. Great the loss is. But more children in danger? There are.
After this revelation, Mace Windu makes his way to the nearest spaceport and boards the Jedi shuttle, setting course for the Outer Rim regions where Dathomir is located. When Mace arrives to the planet, he spends the next month very cautiously investigating the Night Sisters from a distance as a hooded figure. He eventually connects the dots and makes contact with Kaisina, the Night Sister, where she reveals everything to him. This is how Mace came to find out about Maul. Now back in present time, Maul stands in the center of the Jedi Council chambers as they get ready to observe his test.
A cup, a ship, and a speeder.
How feel you?
Cold, Master Jedi.
Afraid, are you?
No, I'm not.
See through you. We can.
Be mindful of your feelings.
Your thoughts dwell on your mother.
I miss her. I wish she were with me.
Afraid to lose her, I think.
I'm not afraid. And what does that have to do with anything?
Everything. Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. I sense much fear in you.
The Force is strong with him.
Clouded this boy's future is.
The boy is very strong in the Force, but I sense a darkness in him.
And for that reason, train him, you will. Teach him to control the dark side, and not let it control him.
From here on out, Mace Windu takes Maul as his Padawan learner, training him to become the best Jedi that the Jedi Order has ever seen. The young Zabrak would struggle with the dark side and insecurities of his appearance. I think this adds some depth to the character, seen as he is a Jedi with Sith tattoos on his face and body. If anyone can teach Maul to use and control the dark side when in combat, it's Mace Windu, especially since he's the founder of Vapad. Maul is trained at a young age with a double-bladed blue lightsaber, which complements his aggressive and smooth acrobatics, which Mace Windu obviously takes into account. Maul struggles to make friends at the Jedi Temple and gets judged by his peers because of his origin and his appearance. A young Dathomirian Zabrak male who's the son of a witch and given Sith tattoos wouldn't really fly by at the Jedi Temple, especially with the other younglings and Padawans, and for this alone Maul struggles to socialize at a young age. Many of the Padawans would grow to be jealous of Maul and his abilities, and view him as a privileged Jedi who was handed a rare spot as Mace Windu's student. Maul wouldn't have that many friends. The only people he'd really talk to is Yoda, Mace, and a young Obi-Wan Kenobi, and occasionally Qui-Gon Jinn, who'd give him helpful wisdom and advice. Of course, when he was alive. Now, since Palpatine wouldn't have taken Maul and trained him, this would prompt him to search for another apprentice. For those who don't know, Palpatine's master, who was Darth Plagueis during this time, gave him permission to have an assassin, which was Maul in the original timeline. As we enter the events of the Phantom Menace, many key things would be altered as mentioned in the beginning. One of those key things is Maul's original placement in the timeline, which is replaced by a familiar face.
Is the planet secure?
We have taken over the last pockets of primitive life forms. We are in complete control of the planet now.
Good. I will see to it that in the Senate, things stay as they are.
I'm sending my apprentice, Savage Opress.
Join you.
Yes, my lord. A Sith here. We've sent out patrols. We already located a starship in the swamp. It won't be long, my lord.
This is an unexpected move for her. It's too aggressive.
Lord Opress, be mindful.
Let them make the first move.
Yes, my lord.
Earlier in the story, it was revealed that when Caecina offered her son up to a mysterious cloaked man, he rejected her after sensing an unwelcomed presence. This presence that the man sensed was Mace Windu, who was investigating the planet and the Night Sisters. The cloaked man is revealed to be Darth Sidious, who was indeed searching for an apprentice, as he did in the original canon and Legends timeline, where he originally kidnapped Maul at a young age. Palpatine rejected Caecina and left the planet soon after, in fear of being exposed or caught by Mace Windu. If this happened, it would have jeopardized his decade-long plans to take over the Senate and ruin his timing on when he wanted to reveal the Sith to the Jedi in episode 1. Though prior to this, he did make frequent visits. He was mostly interested in Maul. Palpatine knew that Mother Talzin wanted to be his apprentice, so he used Maul as leverage to manipulate her, assuming that he would have taken Maul later on. Palpatine requested if he could train and get to know Maul, which Mother Talzin and Caecina agreed upon, with the exception that it would be limited to the planet of Dathomir, in private but not far away from the stone fortress where the witches live. Palpatine's purpose for this was to groom the boy into becoming his personal assassin, so that when he kidnapped him, they'd have an established relationship, one of a master and apprentice. In one of the early sessions they had, Palpatine gave young Maul his body tattoos, and a painful long process, which traumatized the boy. He requested to Mother Talzin if he could do the honors and give the boy his tattoos, since he, Talzin, and the boy would be closer. At least that's what Mother Talzin believed. And of course, Palpatine was lying. Now, in canon, Dathomir and Zabraks are given their tattoos at birth. For Maul, I've decided to mix this one up for this timeline, which will serve a purpose later on. Years later, shortly after Windu took the boy, Mother Talzin found out that Caecina had killed the young Zabrak. At least that's what she told her. Caecina told Mother Talzin and the other Night Sisters that death was better than bondage, in reference to the lifestyle that the Night Brothers lived. So, Caecina is then exiled, and a year later, Palpatine returns to find this out. The powerful Sith Lord then sets his eyes on Maul's younger brother, Savage Opress. So, basically the same thing that happened to Maul in the original timelines where Palpatine kidnaps him and betrays the Night Sisters would essentially repeat itself here, but instead of taking Maul, he takes Savage. For the next decade, Savage becomes the replacement for Maul in this timeline, as Palpatine's Sith assassin, up until the end of The Phantom Menace, where he is slain by Obi-Wan Kenobi.
We'll handle this.
We'll take the long way.
There's no doubt the mysterious warrior was a Sith.
Always two there are. No more, no less. A master and an apprentice.
But which was destroyed? The master or the apprentice?
The reason Maul wouldn't have been assigned to this is because the Council had no knowledge that Savage was Maul's brother, but when they eventually do find out, they keep this secret away from Maul, which will later turn out to be a big mistake. And this is where part 1 of this Elseworlds story ends. Part 2 will further explore Maul's journey at the beginning of the Clone Wars and up until the end of Revenge of the Sith. I intentionally was going to have this video be one big part, but it was turning out too long, which is why I've decided to split it into 2. Make sure to check the description down below for the people who've helped me greatly with this fanfic, including the voice actors who make these videos that much more better. Also, before I go, I just want to say thank you very much for the support on the Jedi Grievous video. It's the first video on the channel to hit 1,000 views, and it's nearing 3,000 at the time I'm recording this. So thank you guys so much, that means a lot, and I really appreciate the honest and genuine feedback. Once part 2 is uploaded, I will get to work on the Yoda and Grievous fanfic. And thank you all so much, and remember, the Force will be with us, always.